Hey, are you new to reselling, or are you a veteran and are looking to increase your sales? Well, if you answered yes to either of those, this video is for you. What I would love to do is really take the mystery out of reselling and wealth building in general. There's just a few things that people know and do, and they're actually really simple things. So let's talk about how I went from making $436.66 in October of 2020 to making $1,752.29 in February of 2021. There are 4 things that I did. The first thing that I did was I made it a priority. So practically speaking, what do I mean? So I looked at my weekly commitment schedule, which I do have. I'll put that right here for you. And I took a look at everything that I was contributing time to, everything that was important to me that I wanted to make sure I had enough time for. I definitely had sleep on the top of that list. I wanted to make sure I was getting enough sleep during the week. Before February, I was committing 15 hours a week to flipping and about 10 to 20 on grad school. I did drop out of grad school and reallocated those hours to flipping. That was step number 1 that I did. I made it a priority. And the second thing that I did was make a goal for myself. And I know this sounds silly, but ask yourself, do you have a specific goal in terms of hours spent and in terms of the net profit that you want to reach or the number of items that you want to buy? If you answered no, being a little more strategic and mindful about goal setting can help you. So what did I do to help me set this goal? Well, I set a goal for the time I wanted to spend, which I already talked about. Right now, I would be spending 25 hours a week on this, and then my net profit goal has been $2,000. It will increase over time, but for now, at the time of this video, it is $2,000, and your amount might be higher or lower than that. It doesn't matter, but set it. And the other thing that I set a goal for was the amount of items that I wanted to source. So there's some very, very helpful formulas, and you could thank me later for these, that I used. And the first one is a formula to help you figure out how many items that you need to source and list in order to reach that net profit. So this formula is very simple. This formula is net profit is what you know you want to hit, so that should be your net profit goal, is equal to the sell rate. So the sell rate is going to be the number of things that you have sold divided by the number of things you have listed. If you don't know it, I would, take a guess. Is it 20% of your things sell? Do 50% of your things sell? Do 70% of your things sell? My number has ranged from 50 to 70, but to stay on the conservative side, I use 50%, for example. And then you're going to want to multiply that by the items needed times the assumed profit per item. So the assumed profit per item is another variable that you should know. So what is your goal for each item's profit? So I'm just using 15%. Obviously, I sell things that are higher than that make me more money per item than that, but $15 is a safe assumption for kind of like everyday items. I did pick that number based on just my average sell price. And then if you just plug this into Wolfram Alpha, you'll actually get the number of items needed. And once you have that number of items needed, I would divide that by the number of weeks in that month. So whether it's 4 or 5, give yourself a weekly goal. By the way, if you, let's say you have like kind of 2 categories of things you sell, you can do this equation for one of the categories and then the other category. So let's say you want to earn $1,000 profit from lower items. So let's say like $15 profit, and then you want to earn another $1,000 from a higher profit item, so maybe like $30 or $40. Then you can just add those 2 items needed results. Hopefully this is helpful to you. Again, it's very simple. Although that's a great formula, you're going to have to get your feet on the ground. So that's kind of like a, you know, a moonshot goal, if you will. The next thing you're going to want to do is, you know, seriously ask yourself, like, do you have enough time to get the number of items that you need? So mine was 66 items a week. So like, I have to like be real with myself.
Like, Anita, do you actually have the time for 66 items?
Well, I would answer myself and say,
oh man, like, how much time do I actually need to get 66 items?
That is a great question. So in order to get that, let's show you yet another formula. Basically what we're gonna do is add 4 variables together and figure out if that aligns with our 25-hour goal. Or mine is 25 hours a week goal. Whatever you have is different. So maybe yours is higher, yours is lower. So you're going to want to kind of check yourself with this. So you're going to want to calculate the total time sourcing that is needed, the total time listing that is needed, the total time shipping that is needed, and the total time you spend on engaging with customers. And then I always like to keep in a buffer. It's not great to just like, you know, cut things close. It's nice to have some breathing room. So what we end up having is your total time sourcing, your total time listing, and your total time to ship per week, and then total time in engaging, which ends up being, in my case, 22 hours a week. So that leaves my buffer to 3. So I now know that I definitely have budgeted enough time to make this happen. So I would not move forward or into your work without knowing this, because trust me, it can get stressful if you overdo it without being like sober-minded about it. So the other thing that I did to skyrocket my profit was to have a schedule for myself. So having a goal is great. Making a priority is super important. But something kind of very practical is to have a schedule for yourself. I have a weekly schedule for myself, so I aim to source on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So that's about, I have 4 days out of the week that I have allotted to sourcing. Now, right now, I only really need 3 of those days. So I have the flexibility of saying no to sourcing on a day and also, you know, choosing a different day instead. I like having that built-in flexibility. So that's kind of how I do it right now. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'll focus on shipping. And then Sunday nights too, you know, I can also do some shipping for that Monday, that Monday's pickup. Yeah, so that schedule is really the most practical advice I can give you. The last thing and the 4th thing that I want to mention is tracking. So I have found to have great success, obviously 300% increase, quadruple my net profit in just 4 months by tracking. It's very easy to adopt. It really only takes a couple of minutes at most. I would keep it simple in this department. I track basically 3 things. I track my inventory. So if I have a haul, I will just track the number of things that I buy. So this is kind of how I track it for the month. And after putting it on my notes, I will transfer it over to a spreadsheet. I don't know if you can see that there. So I have the trip number there, and I will have the number of things that I bought. That way you can, calculate things like your sell-through rate. So that is one quick way of jotting down your inventory numbers. And again, this isn't like rocket science. It's just a quick habit to develop, which in turn gives you a lot of helpful information that you can make really important business decisions off of in the future. So the second thing that I track are my expenses. So basically like once a week or so, I will look at my sales, whether it's on eBay or on Facebook Marketplace. And since it's already stored on there, I will just take that information and put it onto my spreadsheet. And my spreadsheet is pretty simple. Like, I suppose some people might say it's detailed. I think it's pretty basic. I have the ship date, the description of the item, the amount that I got, and I typically will include like my payout number on there. I don't include what the buyer gave me. I personally just include my payout number from the platform. And then I put the platform name there, and then the category of thing sold. And this is very important if you want insights and if you want to know what items are doing well for you. That is going to be important to write down. Obviously it's optional, all this is optional, but I am sharing my growth strategy here. And again, this does not take long. If you were to do this after every sale, I probably would get fatigued from it, but just pick a day or two in the week to just transfer all that information over there. And then the third thing that I list are my expenses. So obviously I'm not gonna put the sourcing like inventory costs on there again because I already did that. But what I will do here is include any other expense. So typically I end up just including shipping. I don't include like fees from platforms because I already include just my payout amount in my flips. But yeah, so I do include shipping that I have to like use my credit card for on here. Is that if this brought you any value at all and you want to thank me in a very tangible way, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link, which you can go ahead and click in the description box, and you can treat me to a coffee, and I would absolutely love that. And yes, I do spend that money on actual coffee. I love Peet's coffee. Big Bang medium roast is my favorite. I love it with some foam. I have a frother at home, and I also love putting some, vanilla or caramel coffee mate creamer in there. So the more coffee I have, the more likely I am to keep pumping out some content for you. So thanks again for that, if that is a way that you choose to express your gratitude. I would highly appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up. It lets me know whether I should keep making videos like this, so give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you want to continue to learn from me, I love to take the mystery out of reselling and wealth building. So go ahead and tap this button that looks like this. It's a subscribe button. Click that to learn more. I'll see ya next week.